ready. This is going to be exciting.
And we got Cooper starts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
With less than a week remaining before the championship round of the Save 22 spring season, we still have some business to take care of, and tonight we find out who makes up the Final Four in the Cruisin Classics Premier Next-Gen Series right here, right now, on V-Speed. For everyone here at V-Speed, I'm Jacob Blanky. Here alongside me is Ken Huber. We got Eddie Smith in the production booth and the talented Dougie Beard providing tonight's cameras.
Well, it's awesome that you're back here, Jacob. You missed a barn burner of a race at Talladega last week. Logan Throkeld came back from, I think, the 6th position to come back and win that race. So he's locked into the playoffs. So there's still 7 other drivers that haven't got themselves locked in. I don't know. There isn't a high car count out tonight. So somebody with a lot of bonus points, and I'm thinking of Jeremy Gardner being one of them, might be safely in this thing just on points alone, no matter what happens here tonight, but everybody else racing for a position.
But somebody still can play spoiler with win and in. Taking a look at your final 8 drivers: Jeremy Gardner, James Silvers, Patrick Drabick, Levi McCarty, Logan Threlkeld already locked in from the win at Talladega, Wesley Burke, Barrett Morton, and Timothy Wilms all present tonight, so we could have someone win, and then it's going to be in points for the rest.
Yeah, and it's, what a place to do it here. We come off the super speedway, the plate track of Talladega, and then we're here at North Wilkesboro. We go restrictor plate racing and then short track racing, and here we are. So these guys were a little nervous about this schedule for the playoffs there, Jacob, and this is where we're at.
Yes, sir. A 2024 revival saw tonight's venue return to the image of its former glory, having initially opened in 1947 and hosting Cup Series races from 49 through 96. The 0.65 mile asymmetrical oval known as the North Wilkesboro Speedway will sort the wheat from the chaff and prove who deserves to be in the championship 4 into next week.
Yeah, and just 100 short laps to get this done here tonight. So it's going to tick off really quick. We're looking at, I'm just looking at the skies right now. It's really cloudy. There's going to be a lot of grip out there here at North Wilkesboro because the track temperature right now is only at 87 degrees, and it's only going to get cooler as we go into the evening hours. This is a late afternoon race that we're having here at North Wilkesboro. This is an exciting track. I say this for a few tracks, probably in my top 10 list of tracks that I like to race because it's one of the few ovals that has an elevation change, and it makes it really unique. Both ends of the track are completely different on how you drive it, and we're definitely going to see that here tonight in the next gen.
Yes, indeed. This track has a lot of history and a lot of character, and it is going to put on a show for us tonight. Well, since forming in 2013, Jam Printing and Promotions has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning, local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community, and with 5 seconds ticking off on the final qualifying session before the playoffs, who else than Jeremy Gardner is going to win your Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award? James Silver is going to be lining up to his outside, a little over a tenth behind. Skylar Daly, a really good short track driver, lining it up in P3. Levi McCarty in 4th. Wesley Burke was extremely fast in practice. He's going to line it up in P5. Barrett Morton in 6th. Timothy Wilms lines up P7. Logan Threlkeld locked in, so he doesn't have to worry about a finishing position here tonight, but it'll help just a little bit of confidence in P8. Corinne Smith lines up P9. Tyler Evans rounds out your top 10. Charles Abert in P7, or P11 in the 7 car, the last car to take a time. Patrick Dravick did not qualify, and Bobby Bender is going to round out your 13 car field, having also not taken a time.
Yeah, and speaking of Bobby Bender, we talked about it there pre-race. Bobby Bender having some technical issues with some pedals, and I'm not even sure he's going to be able to start this race. So we're looking at potentially only 12 cars out here tonight. So that's probably going to be mean, clean, and green for most of the night here. But with only 12 cars on the field here, these spots are going to matter more than ever because all our playoff drivers are here. So every spot is really going to be a big deal because there's not 40 cars on the track to go back and lose a bunch of points. So all this is going to be razor thin here tonight.
Yep, and on the off chance that we don't see Jeremy Gardner contending for a win here, there may just be the potential. With his 6 wins on the season, he may just point his way in, regardless of where he finishes, but it's going to be a shootout for that last point spot, as well as whoever may play spoiler for that win and in position.
Well, they're rolling off the line. I think they get 2 here at North Wilkesboro parade laps. And there is your race analysis. They're going to do 100 laps here tonight with the pit road speed of 35 miles an hour. They have 4 sets of tire available to them, 2 green-white checker attempts, and 50% fuel with an iRacing fixed setup. Everybody out here is running the same setup. I was able to run a few laps myself, and it looks like the fuel window is about 72 to 78 laps. They'll probably keep it down in 4th gear, and that's why the fuel usage is a little higher. 5th gear is kind of unusable with the setup that they have here tonight.
Yep, and I think it's a little overdue from a couple of weeks ago. Who do you got to win this one, Ken?
I don't know. I like to pick underdogs. Levi McCarty needs to race his way into this thing after a rough finish last week at Talladega. Got a black flag. I think he's still a little sore about that one. So, it's an easy pick, but that's going to be mine for tonight.
One of the best short track drivers we've seen in Goat Locker since they joined Wesley Burke is going to be my pick tonight to win this race. Pace car pulls into the pit lane entry before the entrance of turn 3. Doesn't end up leading them through 3 and 4. The field is lined up side by side, cutting loose through the extreme scoring restart zone, and we are rolling. Green flag in Wilkes County.
Yeah, a little bit of a checkup on the inside line as those 2 guys bounced around down on the bottom, the 22 and the 04. Wesley Burke, your pick. The 4, James Silver's able to tuck in behind Jeremy Gardner. Now you got Levi McCarty taking a run there on the outside, trying to get that outside lane working there. So Levi McCarty is moving up.
Already trying to get it rubbered up to the outside of James Silvers as Gardner jumps out to the lead. Skylar Daly holding off Barrett Morton, who's side by side with Wesley Burke just behind.
Side by side still. Silver's down on the inside. Side by side, Barrett Morton now is going to lose that position to the 22 car. Skylar Daly going to have to fall back in line now under threat with Wesley Burke now on his outside.
Everybody's starting to single file out except for Barrett Morton diving to the inside. He's got it underneath the fender of the 22, trying to challenge for that 4th position, but Morton has to fall back a little bit. Now he's got Logan Threlkeld challenging just behind as Wesley Burke goes around the outside.
Still pushing side by side there. Barrett Morton looking for a hole, a window to get by that 22 car, but he's got the 4 car in front of him. And these guys, you know, early on, they seem to be racing hard as the 22 taps the wall there a little bit. These guys seem to be really racing hard this early, but I think they know that there's only 12 cars out here on the field tonight. And you can see Logan Threlkeld there now looking for a way around Wesley Burke, taking a peek on the outside now. It looks like that outside lane might be a little bit stronger at the moment.
And that's what we might see a lot tonight. Skylar Daly making a little bit of contact with the wall, but you're making that exit so tight. You're pushing and just brushing up against the wall. It may not affect your car too much because of how sturdy these things are built, but it is going to affect your run, and that has allowed Wesley Burke to move back up to try and challenge for 5th.
They're currently riding along here with Logan Threlkeld on the outside of Wesley Burke in that 04 car. These 2 cars are matched up. Wesley Burke almost popped there in front of him, tried to steal that momentum away from Logan Threlkeld. Logan Threlkeld now falling back there on the outside. And you got to be really careful. This setup is super tight here tonight, but it does have a snap loose condition. So these drivers have to be mindful of that, not to have too much wheel input on the exit of these corners, or this car will come around on you in a hurry.
And another one of these racetracks where blink and you miss it. Gardner just took the line, and we are on lap 9 of 100 already. So we are ticking these laps away, an average of about, I would say, 18.5-second laps being run. Levi McCarty having just run the 18.8 for his last lap. So everybody running around in the same time bracket. But once Gardner gets it going, we may see some lap cars start to form around the 30 to 40 mark.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see how this works out. It definitely has that green flag look to it. Looking at Wesley Burke here on the back of Barrett Morton there. Looking out his front windshield here, trying to look for a spot there. Going to shove it down to the outside there. James Silvers now on the low line. Might be able to use him as a pick. Depends on what lane Silvers uses the next time. He's going to drop it down to the bottom here. And this is where you're kind of going uphill, and now you descend into turn 1. So this is a descent right here. And this is what I'm talking about, that elevation change. And you kind of diamond the corner here a little bit. Now you go back uphill as you head down to 3 and 4. And then when you get to 3 and 4, it's kind of uphill, but then you drive it down to that white line. You don't diamond this corner like you do 1 and 2. And then you got to pay attention to where your exit is, as Wesley Burke just tags the wall there. And that's what I was talking about, that snap loose condition just happened to Wesley Burke. But anyway, yeah, just you have to be careful getting on the throttle there, and he's got some damage. He's going to have to get that car fixed. He's on pit road, hitting the wall again. A lot of suspension damage.
It does not look like he has got it to that pit lane, and he has pulled it into the pits and is out of contention for that final chase spot. More contact a little bit further up. Patrick Drabick on the move, P6, after having not taken a qualifying lap, made contact with Skylar Daly.
Yeah, kind of moved it looked like he moved the 22 out of the way. I don't know, it's really tight racing. I'd have to go back and look at, see exactly who is at fault at that, but it looked like Patrick Drabick is like, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and move you out of the way. And sometimes North Wilkesboro can be a bottom feeder track. And what I mean by being a bottom feeder is you run that bottom line and you try to route people out of that line so you can get by. And I think that's what Patrick might have used there. And you can see him diamonding that corner through 1 and 2 like I was talking about. And then you'll see him dip it down as he goes uphill right to the white line. And then just hold it there. When you pick up the throttle, you gotta wait. It's very tempting to pick it up too early, and the car just pushes up towards the wall. And we've seen that happen to Wesley Burke just a moment ago. And Patrick Drabick looks calm and collected in that car at the moment as he's working his way up to Logan Threlkeld.
Just got to wait for it to settle in and hook up before you get back in the throttle, as he is still very much in contention to try and get those last two playoff spots. And I think we might have seen some network with Logan Threlkeld, as he is just completely disappeared off the track. That'll allow Drabick to move up to 5th, at least for the moment.
Yeah, so Threlkeld now back in the session, so Threlkeld has reappeared. Boy, we had some internet troubles last night, and it looks like that is continuing here today with the internet. So a lot of drivers are out here struggling with connection issues. Logan Threlkeld was able to keep his position and not drop out of the session. But he is safe in the playoffs, so even if his night was to end early, he's still in the Final Four. So I'm sure he would like to cap off another win here tonight. He was pretty excited last week after that win.
He has been consistent running in that 5th spot, just doing what he can to keep that gap to Morton at least honest for the moment. But Dravik is very slowly gaining on the 30 of Threlkeld. As he's almost in the back bumper of Barrett Morton, we might see a battle for 4th here.
Yeah, everybody's pretty much single file right now, trying to get their cars sorted out as the laps are ticking away. Lap 22 of the 100-lap race we have here at North Wilkesboro tonight. And like I said, with pit window being close to 75 laps, it's going to be interesting on the strategy. You know, who's going to make it a halfway stop at the 50 mark and who's going to maybe stretch it out and hope for a caution. But with only 12 cars on the field, now only 11 actually, since Wesley Burke has retired that 04 machine, it could be kind of a risky move staying out like Levi McCarty did here a week or so ago.
Watching Logan Threlkeld, he almost had a run to that outside there, but decided against it. Pulls it back to the bottom line, running lower to try and get a better exit over Morton. Maybe try and shoot for a better entry here into the into 1 and 2, but he is just settling out right now. These three still under a blanket to try and get up to that 4th spot.
So keeping our eye on Logan Threlkeld here, and he's keeping an eye on Barrett Morton right now. Was running in each other's tire tracks. Gonna run that car up a little bit. I think just Logan was pushing a little hard there. Knows that Patrick Dravik is coming, so he's maybe putting a little bit more pressure there on Barrett Morton now, and maybe he can put up a good fight here. But this track now, with the tires starting to get worn out, is going to be even more difficult to pass than it was on the opening laps here.
Everybody gonna want to run this out, want to conserve their tires and maybe put a fresh set of shoes on later on when they get the opportunity to make their stops. Now, I don't think they sell shoes, but they do have a lot of other apparel and good items for sale at the GLR web store. Support the sport and the mission. Go Locker Racing at glrwebstore.com. You'll find quality racing apparel, hats, and gear. And every purchase supports veterans, active military, and first responders. Your order also helps fuel our mission and fight back against mental health challenges facing our community. Great gear, real purpose. Visit glrwebstore.com. They got the QR code on the screen up there just for you to scan it.
Absolutely. I got my my Goat Locker Racing baseball cap on right now as we're presenting this race to you folks here tonight on V-Speed. Logan Threlkeld was drifting off the back of Barrett Morton there. We've had the camera on him for a while, but now he's closed it back in, so kind of seesawing back and forth, trying to find a way around that 9 car. I think both those drivers are really consistent as we move up to Levi McCarty now, who's under threat from James Silvers just behind him.
Watching that battle to try and get to Barrett Morton, we lost track of this one that was forming. Levi McCarty had gotten out to about 2 seconds over the following cars, but James Silvers has ever so slowly worked his way up to the back bumper of the 51 and is going to be challenging for second. As you can see just how different a line both of these cars are running through the corners. Levi taking it all the way down to the bottom at the entrance of the corner and drifting up to the middle once he gets on exit. Silvers took it middle on entry, drifted down on exit, and is just chopping away at that lead by the 51. And he's also rounding it off through 1 and 2 with the 51 diamonding it as he makes a move to the inside to try and get him in 3.
Yeah, and I think this is a product of Levi McCarty really putting up some fast lap times at the start of this race to get up to that second spot, and maybe put a little too much pressure on those tires. But it looks like Silver's going to clear him. Close call. So Silvers is going to retake that second spot and try to reel in Jeremy Gardner, who's now 3.1 seconds ahead of him. And while that was going on, Patrick Dravik moved him up a position over Logan Threlkeld. So there was a battle going further towards mid-pack while we were watching that battle, and Dravik has cleared that 30 car and now is going to try to make something of Barrett Morton.
Something interesting I noticed with that battle we were just on, Levi's left front brake rotor was glowing in comparison to how James Silvers looked on with his. So Levi is using a lot more brakes through the corners than Silvers was, and that is likely just heating up those fronts to the point where he's getting so, like, it's throwing off his rhythm, and he is starting to drop back a little bit.
Yeah, this car with this setup is just so difficult to drive here. It is really tight on entry and right through the center, and if you're not careful, you just overheat the front tires, overheat those front brakes. Those front tires get hot, and you just can't get the car to turn anymore, and I think that's probably what McCarty is experiencing right now. And he's probably hoping at this point, he knows he's probably chewed a lot of the rubber off on that car, and he probably would like to see a caution, but I don't know, that's the way this race is looking. He's going to need a miracle to see that happen.
Yep, everything having settled out a little bit, Thrillkill trying to claw back position on Patrick Drabick, who's slowly stepping away, trying to catch Barrett Morton in the 30s stead from earlier. You can watch just how different the entry is based on where you're at in the corner. As he gets closer to the 07's bumper, and the 07 just has so much better drive off, it just stretches it out into the straightaway up until they get into the corners again, and you can start. It's more of a reading comprehension test on how much of that save 22 you can make out on the back bumper of the 07 right now.
That's for sure. And that's only going to get worse, so he's going to need a new prescription here in another couple laps. But Patrick Drabick, very good at managing his tires and starting near the back without a qualifying time and running his way up, like you said, currently in that 5th position. Going to start probably working on Barrett Morton. I think he's done a better job at managing his tires than Barrett has, so Barrett Morton is probably going to become under threat here in another 5 or 6 laps. And speaking of threats, we've got another probably 9 laps to go before we could potentially see pit stops at the halfway mark.
Everybody wanting to split it, as it looked like the 9 made contact with the 07 up there. Drabick was pinched up against the wall, and Barrett made a good exit, or a good entry, diving down to the bottom there, and I think he's just going to let the 07 by here.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do with those tires. I think Barrett Morton's in the same situation that Levi McCarty is those tires are cooked, and it doesn't take long here at North Wilkesboro to really chew up this rubber out here. And the guys that can manage their tires the best are going to do the best. And Drabick up another spot. And speaking of another driver that's doing his best, Levi McCarty. And there you go. You can see Levi McCarty on pit lane, as I was mentioning that. So it looks like he's reached the point where he's like, you know what, I'm going to put some new tires on, take the risk, and see what he can do.
He's going to have to try and push it here, because he is going to go at least 1 lap down as long as he is on pit road. Gardner's still staying out for the moment, and the only other cars that have been on pit road were Charles Abert, who I believe started on pit road. He's currently sitting 22 laps down, and Wesley Burke, who dove down to avoid wrecking the field after getting that wheel damage.
Yeah, well, talking about Levi McCarty here, I think his strategy, and this would be my strategy, at least I'm trying to put myself in his head, is he's going to go down there, he's going to get some fresh rubber on that car, he's going to cook off some really nice lap times, but he is going to need a caution. And he was only going backwards. So, I think his thought process is hopefully, all the green flag stops happen, as we got another car, Timothy Wilms, on pit road in the 9th position. He is making his pit stop. But Levi McCarty's taking the gamble here, going to try to make up some distance here as long as it stays green. And then hopefully after everybody makes their pit stops, I think he's going to hope for a caution. That's about his best strategy he's got at the moment.
Starting to cook that fresh rubber, trying to run it all the way around that track as fast as he can. Gardner, having done a 19.2 last time out, still the fastest car on track with those old tires. McCarty having run an 18.7, so 0.5 faster on those fresh tires as Levi McCarty, as he's already gotten past Wilms, who has finished up his stop and made exit of the pit lane. And I think he might have only taken 2 tires. He had a sub 10-second stop. So a little bit of strategy plan out here.
And that might be a good idea as we watch Jeremy Gardner head to his pit lane, and he's going to box his car in. But, that 2-tire stop, and we've heard it with the next-gen cars, when you got a car that's this tight out here that these drivers are struggling with, I've heard that taking the 2 tires, you can get a looser car and maybe better drive off here at North Wilkesboro. So that might be the strategy for Williams. So it might be even better than what we're thinking with the 2-tire stop, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out for him.
McCarty gets his lap back, at least one of them right now, by passing James Silvers, still lapping faster than the rest of the field. those fresh tires already starting to overtake some of those other cars, is we might see some more cars pull it down pit road. Gardner going to opt for the 4-tire option, as he is going to go 2 laps down before he gets off of pit road.
And Silver's now headed down pit lane towards his crew to get that machine serviced. So second place car is now on pit road. I think that's going to hand the lead to Patrick Dravick. He's going to get some bonus points here. Yep, Dravick just inherits the lead through this pit cycle. And that's going to give him some much-needed bonus points, maybe get him into the final 4. Dravick now is headed to pit lane, going to make his stop.
Yep, everybody wanting to cycle through and get those tires on as quick as they can. I wonder if Dravick is going to take some wisdom from earlier races and go with the 2-tire option to try and cement himself into that final 4, at least on points. But it's gonna be close when we come down to the end of it, as we are over halfway here. Barrett Morton now holds on to the lead for now. 5 cars still yet to pit for tires.
Yeah, and he's got Logan Threlkeld back there. Skylar Daly still on the lead. They're out. Tyler Evans. Horin Smith is out there as well. So there's about 5 drivers out there ahead of Jeremy Gardner who haven't made their pit stop yet. Kind of hoping for a caution, but I don't think they're going to get it.
Little too late for that, I'd imagine, unless we get somebody blending back up onto the track or impatient driving around some
Silver's
of these other cars.
sideways.
James Silver's sideways on the front stretch. He collects it. He might have some damage off of that one, but that is going to hamper him. He's trying to get those tires warmed up. Let's take a look at the instant replay here.
Going through 1 and 2, just this is that snap loose problem, I think, and then we're going to head into 3 and 4 uphill, and we'll see what happens. And this is where if you got too much wheel in it and you pick up the throttle too early, it just wants to come around. There it is. Same thing that happened to Wesley Burke. Silvers was able to save it. Some clever braking there to keep that car straight there, but didn't hit anything, but put some heat in those tires really quick.
Heated and flattened them a little bit, I'd imagine, with those fronts. Burned up the rears, got them up to temperature real quick. Barrett Morton and Logan Threlkeld still on track, as are the 3 cars behind. Jeremy Gardner starting to make up ground, as you can see him creep into the background to try and get his final lap back.
Yeah, and I think Levi McCarty was kind of hoping he probably could lead a lap, but unable to get that done because he is being scored behind Jeremy Gardner, who Jeremy Gardner is currently in the lucky dog position. As long as he can hold on to that, waiting for these guys to pit. As we watch Logan Threlkeld go up the hill, these tires are getting a hold, and we're going to watch Logan Threlkeld now go to pit lane. Barrett Morton is going to get passed by where Jeremy Gardner will assume the lead here once everybody cycles around, but Barrett Morton still holding out hope that there's going to be a caution, but he's going to need to bring that thing in within the next 10 laps at least.
And Morton going to opt to be one of the last takers for the pit cycle. 60 laps in the books here, 40 to go. Jeremy Gardner back on the lead lap. Morton still class as your leader, but he needs to come down pit road before the end of this one. And it's only a matter of time before he decides to make that move.
Yeah, Barrett Morton and the 22, Skylar Daly, Tyler Evans as well. 4 drivers out there risking it all right now. They're just giving up tons of time out there on the track. And, when they do come in and get their pit cycle done, they might very well be a lap down, because that's how much time they're giving up on the track right now. So we're watching Jeremy Gardner out there on his freshies getting it done. He's currently running in the 5th position, and that will change once this pit cycle happens. He'll inherit the lead, as we're watching the 77 of Tyler Evans coming down pit lane to get his service done.
If Tyler Evans having folded there on the strategy call, that's going to put him behind a lot of these other drivers that took that fresh rubber earlier. 3 drivers still yet to make their stop, but watching the 77 as he was in his pit box, he is going to opt for that 4-tire stop. Morton still out in the lead, 64 laps or 63 laps in the books, taking 64 now, and it's only a matter of time. I keep saying that, and it's going to have to happen, but it's just a matter of when.
Well, he's made a bed of nails, and he's about to lay in it. So, if he doesn't get a caution, it's really going to damage any hope that the 9 car has here tonight. Skylar Daly running 3 seconds behind him. Skylar Daly in the 22 machine still hasn't made his pit stop, and there's a whole host of cars coming up on him with fresher tires. But And then Corin Smith there in the Captain Crunch machine, she is out there, still hasn't made her stop. So these 3 cars still out there hoping for a caution, because right now Jeremy Gardner's back on the lead lap. Jeremy Gardner's running in the 4th position. These 3 cars on older tires just ahead of him.
I want to draw attention to a bit of a hornet's nest forming for that 6th position. Timothy Wilms holding off James Silvers as they were getting around some of the traffic that hadn't pitted yet. Both of these cars on those fresh tires, the only difference being Wilms having taken 2 to Silver's 4. So he is just driving around the outside trying to get as much momentum on exit as he can to hold off the 4, but that is hampering these guys' run to try and get back up to Gardner.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how Wilms can do here, because I was wondering if that would help the tight condition here with these cars. Wilms on a fresher stint, you could say, less laps, but you know, with all 4, it looks like Silvers has definitely got the advantage, going to get the pass done here.
Speaking of getting the pass done, Jeremy Gardner has just passed Corinne Smith for the P2 position. Barrett Morton, the only car on track that hasn't been bypassed by the cars on fresh tires. His last lap was a 20.2. Gardner's was a 19.1 in traffic. So a second of time, but of a second of a gulf waiting or between the first 2 cars on track, as Morton is going to have to make his stop here soon. We saw Skylar Daly take it down. He's currently in the 9th position, having finished his stop out. But Corinne Smith and Barrett Morton need to bring it down pit road before long.
Yeah, and this is really what they got to do now, because they are going to lose a lap when they do make their pit stop. So they've got to stay out and hope for a caution. I just don't think they're going to get it with 30 to go. So they're coming right up on their window. So within the next 5 laps, anytime from now to the next 5 laps, they're going to have to come in and get these cars serviced. And, you know, I guess you roll the dice and try it and see what happens. As I'm looking, Silver's now passing that 9 car of Barrett Morton. So Barrett Morton might be in a little bit of trouble there.
Yep, he is letting a bunch of cars get their laps back right now. Silver's there, Wilms just behind him, Patrick Dravick behind him, and it is only going to be a matter of time before he makes that decision to pull it in. And going to have a good team of, going to have a good pit crew to salvage a good finish here today. And going to have people that are really technical, really savvy with equipment to that degree. I don't think you can find very many other people with that. As we watch Timothy Wilms clap the wall, going to have some engineers take a look at that afterwards, and they might have been from Lincoln Tech. Lincoln's mission is to provide superior education and training to our students for in-demand careers in a supportive, accessible learning environment, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They are one of the largest automotive technology schools in the nation with 23 campuses. They are the title sponsor of the fall series from last season and the IndyCar series in Goat Locker, and we're thankful for them being a partner of GLR so that we can put on shows like this, as Barrett Morton still holding it out on track on 3/4 of the way through this race without taking a pit stop, and he is holding everybody up right now. Skylar Daly stuck behind him. Logan Thrillkill going to try and get a position off of Daly stuck behind Morton, as he is still out on track. He's only got 5 seconds over Gardner, and he's going to lose that within the next 5 laps.
Yeah, he's definitely in big trouble there. As we watch the 22 try to make love to the wall there, that's Skylar Daly there just slapping it hard up against the wall. And Patrick Dravick, you know, he's out there. He got that fender there up on Barrett Morton that we seen earlier while we were at that reading that fine sponsor from Lincoln Tech there. Patrick Dravick roughing up Barrett Morton up a little bit. Barrett Morton he's got his fingers crossed now, but he's in big trouble. I think he is going to go all the way to the back when he makes his pit cycle. Well, towards the back, I should say. He's going to lose probably at least 10 positions.
He needs to pull it down here soon so that he can at least get enough to finish this race out. I don't think it's unfeasible to try and go the entire length of the race, but he has got 79 laps on this, and he is going to wave the white flag for his chances, as 79 laps is a lap too many. Gardner passing him to re-inherit the lead. Only one car still out on track that has not made a pit stop, Corinne Smith, all the way down to 5th, but Barrett Morton just pulled it off a little too late, as we are 80 laps in the books with Gardner out to an 8-second lead over McCarty.
Yeah, I think Barrett Morton was thinking it was worth a shot here tonight. Take the risk. He was in 7th in points, so he was a bit further back than the rest of the field. Why not take the risk if you weren't having the greatest night? Oh, he's a fuel only, it looks like. So Barrett Morton right in, just takes fuel only and is going to head back out on those old tires. So Barrett Morton trying to salvage somewhat of a finish here, but he's already dropped down to 9th. So some really unusual strategy for that number 9 machine out there tonight. I think he's right now in the lucky dog spot. So still hoping for that caution. Let's see, Barrett Morton. He's got Skylar Daly, which is about 4 seconds behind him. And that's his only thing he's got to do is try to stay in that lucky dog position. He's really desperate for that yellow flag.
Well, in order to do that, he's got to hamper the cars behind him to keep the distance between him and Daly. He does not have any grip on these old tires, having run them for 83 laps almost at full bore. And these guys behind are on the fresh, like all 4 fresh tires between both McCarty and Silvers. McCarty got a bumper in to try and get below Morton, but he is just holding them up. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets moved by one of them.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to get out of the way there, almost gets the wall. Seeing Corin Smith back on pit road, or that might be her stop, but looks like these 2 cars are going to get by Barrett. Barrett's doing actually a pretty good job on the outside, running with him, and he knows that he needs to keep in the lucky dog position with Skylar Daly coming. Skylar Daly now has gained a 1.5 seconds over the last 2 laps. So coming in a hurry, Skylar Daly is going to inherit that lucky dog spot in probably another 2 or 3 laps. So Barrett Morton desperately trying to hang on to the lucky dog spot here.
Daly with 4 tires. Only 2 cars took 2 tires on their stop. That would be Timothy Wilms, who was battling for position. He's got 6th right now. And Logan Threlkeld, who is up past Drabick, is currently sitting in the 4th position. He doesn't need to have a good finish, but he's going to get one for good measure, it looks like, as Daly is almost caught up to the back of Morton as we watch McCarty get bypassed by James Silvers for the 2nd spot.
Yeah, and McCarty's starting to slip back. You know, he tried that strategy with the early pit stop, and kind of like Barrett Morton, only maybe a little bit more heads up for McCarty, trying to get the tires on early, hope for a caution, and maybe have a little bit of a shootout at the end. But those tires are starting to fail on him now. Logan Threlkeld looks like might be starting to reel him in, but Logan Threlkeld is probably 3 seconds back. So Logan's got a short time to do it as we're 13 to go. I don't know if he's going to be able to get up there, but like I said, he's locked in. So he's probably pretty happy with tonight being in that 4th position. And then Patrick Drabick having a solid run, starting in the back, going to try to chase those other 2 drivers down. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Threlkeld starting to reel in McCarty. As you can see, Skylar Daly on those fresh tires getting past him as well. The 51 is dropping back. He lost that position to James Silvers, and he is now only a 1.5 seconds ahead of Threlkeld for that final podium spot. It looks like McCarty taking that early stop might have burned him a little bit.
Yeah, and like I said, I think his strategy was for that caution, which he's probably not going to get. He pitted, looks like about 46 laps ago. Oh, there's the caution.
Oh, my goodness.
We got it. Finally happened. And who's in the lucky dog? Skylar Daly. Barrett Morton was unable to hold on. So Skylar Daly he was able to get around Barrett Morton as we're looking at what the cause of this was. But that's some news. That's a news flash as well.
Caution is out, under 10 laps to go. Corinne Smith looks like they lost it out of turn 2, trying to send it around the outside of Drabick. Just tries to keep in it, locks him up, makes contact with the inside wall, and doesn't get it going. So that changes the outlook of this one, at least for the clean finish, as Gardner is going to have some competition in these last 10 laps.
Yeah, and the pit strategy here is going to be something to behold as well, as we've got just looking here, Skylar Daly is going to be the lucky dog. So that's 7 cars on the lead lap. So that's what these guys are looking at for their pit stops. We'll see if we have any takers. Oh, it looks like pit lane is open, and Silvers is going to be the first one on. Silvers was running in that 4th position in that 4 machine. Going to be down. He's going to put some tires, maybe get that, just tires, I would imagine, and get back out there and see if he can do a flash and dash.
Yep, Daly gets the lucky dog to go around, but outside of that, Jeremy Gardner, Logan Threlkeld, Patrick Drabick on the lead lap, having stayed out. Everybody behind opting for a pit stop. That's James Silvers, McCarty, Timothy Wilms, and Barrett Morton all going in there and all taking 4 tires and fuel to finish this one off. Or probably not fuel, but they probably had enough on their stop to get to the end at the very least. But this is going to be a good one because we're not going to be into overtime just yet. We're going to have a few laps where everybody's going to be scrambling to find grip on track. Threlkeld is on the fresher 2 tires as opposed to Gardner, who is on 44-lap-old tires. Threlkeld's right sides are 10 laps fresher.
Well, this is also going to have some big playoff implications. So looking at the points right now, Silver is second in points right now. It's probably, as long as he can hold on to the position, we'll make it in. You got Logan Threlkeld locked in. Patrick Dravick currently running back there in the 3rd position, trying to race his way in. He's 4th in points, so right on the bubble here. So we got a lot of things shaping up here. Timothy Wilms in this thing as well. And, of course, McCarty out there on the fresh tires. We know he's a hard charger as the pace car is ducking on the pit lane.
Pace car is in. Everybody doubled up. We're going to be 5 to go when we hit the stripe. Jeremy Gardner leads him back to green at North Wilkesboro, and he is off like a rocket. Threlkeld doesn't get a good jump. Everybody fanning out as soon as they hit the start-finish line, and McCarty already pressuring them on those fresh tires.
Yeah, McCarty getting a little bit into the back of Silvers there, trying to get around, trying to find a hole. McCarty definitely needs to race his way into this, needs to get around both Dravick, the 30 machine, and the 4 car. As they go 3 wide, the 4 gets into the 30 as those 2 guys are racing. Meanwhile, we got a spin. The 4 car, 30 gets into the back of the 4. We're still green. So we got some tempers flaring. I can hear it already. McCarty's going to the outside.
4 car pushed into the 30. 30 repaid the favor by almost turning him on exit. Jeremy Gardner taking 3 to go. Patrick Dravick jumping up to the top of the track to get around the 30 car. Logan Threlkeld and Levi McCarty's around sideways. Caution is back out. We're going to overtime.
Oh my goodness, McCarty did not need that. And I think Silvers was really unhappy with Logan Threlkeld there. McCarty going straight to pit lane too as well. I don't think pit lane was open, so that's going to penalize him, I believe. Man, what a tough break for McCarty.
Oh, man, he pushed it way too hard. He needed to get back up there if he wanted to win his way in. And I think he may be behind on points now after that one. As we're going to take another look at what happened. He just lost it going up, on the exit of turn 2, like we saw Corinne Smith do earlier.
Yeah, tried that strategy, and now he's on pit lane, I believe. Yeah, he's exited the session, so Levi McCarty out of this one. So tough break for McCarty. He has parked that thing for the evening. And speaking of that incident with Logan Threlkeld and James Silvers, I'm just looking at the points here. And I just want to talk about this for a minute because Silvers was, just looking here, James Silvers was in the 2nd place on points. And that really, at the time, looked like it was really going to hurt Silvers. But with McCarty dropping out, Silvers is currently running in the top 5. So Silvers is probably going to be able to lock himself in as long as nothing else crazy happens out here. So Silvers probably still in this thing. Dravick in this thing. Logan Threlkeld's already locked in. So looking at Timothy Wilms is the driver that is really going to need to put on a show here at the end. I'm just seeing where Timothy Wilms in. He's currently in the 4th position. Wilms really needs this. He's got to win this thing. So look for anything from that Timothy Wilms machine, that Cruisin Classics. Speaking of our title sponsor here, we'll see what Wilms can do here in this green-white checker attempt.
What I want to see out of Timothy Wilms, and this is by no means any sort of attack on how he normally runs these races because he's a clean driver. He gets it done just on attrition and making sure he runs it clean. He needs to go for it right here. He is on 40-lap fresher tires than everybody in front of him. And he can rip that top if he believes in himself to try and make that move. Threlkeld is going to try and get in there for that win. Dravick going to try and go for it as well. Silver's just behind the 07, but Jeremy Gardner still going to lead him to the line as we are going to go into overtime at North Wilkesboro here in the Cruisin Classics Next Gen Series, and we are off Jeremy Gardner off like a rocket once again, and Logan Threlkeld doesn't get a really good stop off the top, but here comes Wilms trying to look to the top on him.
Yeah, Wilms couldn't get to the outside, took a peek there. It looks like Patrick Drabick is trying to break free of that 30 car Logan Threlkeld as the glove station white flag is out. One more lap to go.
Jeremy Gardner leads him through the corner. Timothy Wilms always trying to trap Ryan Rack. I can't even speak. Trying to wrap it 3 wide up the top. Doesn't get the good run. Logan Threlkeld holds him off. James Silver's trying to push him for that 3rd spot, but Jeremy Gardner going to make it win number 7 on the season to win and get into the Final 4 at Homestead.
What a great run by Gardner. Almost flag to flag other than the pit stops, but great job there for Gardner. He's locked himself in. Didn't get the win last week. And he was able to survive the gauntlet of Talladega and North Wilkesboro, the super speedway and the short track. And it appears to me maybe that was strategy on his part to pick those 2 tracks going into the playoffs.
Well, both tracks have a common theme, and that is desperation. With Talladega, you can make those moves in line and try and get yourself to the front to gamble and make the win. And here, you can make your own destiny. You can move whoever you need to as long as you've got the pace to keep up on it. But he has shown that he has been the dominant force in this season with win number 7 on the year. We're going to be right back, take a couple of commercials, and we will be back with your unofficial results and an interview with it's going to be the top 3 finishers in the race and likely whoever has made it into the Final 4. We'll be right back.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
We are back at North Wilkesboro with the Cruisin Classics Premier Next Gen Series having finished out the round of 8. Jeremy Gardner having won his 7th race on the season, started from the pole, took it home. Patrick Drabick ended up starting in the back of the pack, didn't take a qualifying lap and finished 12th. Logan Threlkeld, who locked in with a win last week, rounds out the podium, and James Silvers, who started 2nd, finishes in P4, and it just so happens that your top 4 finishers are going to be fighting for a championship next week at Homestead. Timothy Wilms put on a valiant fight to bring it home in P5, but just short of the championship cut. Skylar Daly with a good run to finish in 6th. Barrett Morton made that late gamble to try and keep it out and ended up finishing in P7. Tyler Evans in the P8 position. Corinne Smith with the first caution of the night, with a good run on that late strategy call, finishes P9. And Levi McCarty went for it all at the end and didn't pay off. He finishes in P10. Charles Abert started the race late, finished in P11. Wesley Burke, your first car out in P12, and Bobby Bender with an equipment malfunction did not take the green flag. So now let's talk to one of our championship contenders and your race winner, Jeremy Gardner. This is Jake Lanky in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think I've said it before, but this season really does feel like it has worked in your favor, hasn't it?
Damn sure has. That's for sure. More wins than last season. A lot more consistent.
Well, you've won half the races this season. It has just been, it's like it's been held out on a silver platter for you. You make it look easier and easier every season that you take the track. And are you going to try and extend your championship streak next week at Homestead? Because you got a shot.
For sure. And I mean, Homestead's, I think it's going to be a really good race. I'm hoping some more people show up next week. I think a lot of people are just dreading chaos tonight, but it actually was a clean race. But yeah, Homestead's going to put on some good racing. I mean, you got the low line, middle line, people going to rip the fence. It's going to be a hell of a race next week. So let's see if we can make this a three-peat.
Yes, sir. Two premier next gen series chamber. I think that's 3 in a row that you've got, and 2 since it's been a premier. Who do you have to thank for putting you on the top step of the podium, and more importantly, into the championship fight?
Yeah, Pat and Jamie at GLR, appreciate them guys. Lincoln Tech, Save 22 for being on the car, appreciate them guys as well. Cruisin Classics and Nasties, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, NVETS, Above the Yellow Line. Uh, my guys at Prestige Performance, Premier Racing Setups, and congrats to Pat, Logan, and James. I think we're going to have a hell of a fight next week. So it's honestly cool this season. I've got one of my teammates with me to fight for a title.
Yes, sir. It is going to be a show for sure at Homestead. Congrats on the win. We will see you next week for the championship.
See you then.
All right, that was your winner and incumbent champion, Jeremy Gardner. Ken, who are you standing by with?
I'm standing by with Patrick Drabick once again. I get to talk to the second place man. Congratulations on making your way into the championship. Hey, you started almost dead last, kind of a small field, but it's no fault, small feat. Getting around a lot of good drivers here at the end of the season. Talk about your race tonight. Seen a little bit of contact here and there. Yeah, just talk about your race overall here tonight.
Yeah, well, Ken, thanks for pointing out that I genuinely screwed up qualifying, like super, super bad. So I had to start all the way out back, which I was not excited about, especially here at North Wilkesboro, knowing what I was up against. Didn't need a new winner, didn't need Levi or Wesley to win. Had to finish in front of them. So you play out all those scenarios and then you screw up qualifying. So it's a little nerve wracking. But it was Wilkesboro, had a little contact here and there, rubbed some fenders. Really had a fun race. I mean, it's a lot of fun getting around this track and trying to control the tire spin and everything like that. So I'm just so super stoked to bring it home in second place and yeah, make it to the championship 4 again.
Well, now the 4 of you are going to be headed to Homestead, Miami here next week for that final shot at the championship. How do you feel about coming into Miami?
Oh, I feel great. Last time we were there, I roughed up Gardner pretty good. So hopefully I can repeat that. And well, hopefully he learned his lesson from last time and doesn't try to block me twice. It's Gardner though. He probably didn't learn that lesson. So man, no, I'm excited for everybody that made the final 4. I think we finished the top 4 in the race tonight. And was having a cool conversation there with James Silvers, and he's super stoked to be in there. And I'm just it's a whole lot of fun racing with these guys, and to go compete for another championship is going to be a lot of fun at Homestead. So we'll see what this old Save 22 Chevy, Camaro's got to give next week, and we'll give it everything we got.
Well, speaking of that, who do you have to thank for getting you into the final 4 and going to play off here at Miami?
Yeah, huge shout out to Cruisin Classics and Nasties for being the sponsor and such tremendous supporters over the years of this series. It is so awesome year after year to have the Cruisin Classics Next Gen series come back. So that is awesome. Alexander PCs, we've actually got a couple more PCs on order. Those, getting ready to do a couple more veteran sim rigs for our Hoosier veterans out there and some outside of Indiana as well. So hopefully everybody tunes in to Go Talk tomorrow and we can talk a lot more about that. But Jam Printing and Promotions and the amazing work they do. We're getting ready for a big event at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Goat Locker Racing will be there for all qualifying weekends set up inside the track. So if you just happen to want to come out and watch some of the fastest car in the world go around the best track in the world, come see us as well qualifying weekend at the Indianapolis 500. And Jam Printing Promotions is putting everything together for us. And then a huge shout out to you guys at V-Speed, man. Ken, always awesome talking to you. Linky, man, does outstanding work. And Eddie kind of sucks, but I'll hang out with him tomorrow night too.
All right. Well, that was Patrick Dravick. Second place, locked himself into the Final Four. We'll see him next week at Miami.
All right, I am standing by with your third place finisher of tonight, Logan Threlkel. This is Jake Lanky in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing pretty good. I'd imagine you're doing pretty good yourself. You didn't need a
yeah.
good you didn't need a good finish tonight, but you decided to get it anyway. You locked yourself in at Talladega and put it on the podium here at North Wilkesboro. That's a hot streak going into Miami. Take us through it.
I just really wanted to come up and talk to you guys again. It's only the third time I've gotten to this season. So, hey, Jake. Hey, Ken. Hey, Eddie.
Hey.
No, it was a fun race. It was North Wilkesboro. 90 laps green is incredible. I mean, I know we only had 13 cars out there, but that's a hard feat to do in itself. So, first of all, props to everybody. But yeah, it was kind of tough. Made that green flag pit stop and decided, 2 tires has worked out for Jeremy Gardner multiple times this season. I was kind of battling Pat for position. So I was like, what a better way to beat him. So took 2 tires, started driving up there. Then we had that caution and I made some contact with James. I blame it on having no grip on the left-hand side, but he was bad fast out there and felt bad for that. But luckily he still came home fourth.
Put together a solid run and getting the most momentum you can going into Homestead next week. Who do you have to thank for putting you in the Final Four?
Of course, iRacing for this awesome service that we've got here. MK Fire Design, Sim Motion, Harpoon Design, Zach Graphics, and of course, Cruisin Classics for being up here as our Wednesday night series sponsor. Love what they've got to offer. Of course, everybody behind the scenes at Goat Locker, Pat and Jamie, they do an awesome job. All the race controllers, I know Tim Jones had to step up tonight, not his usual series he does. So big shout out to him, although it was pretty easy. And of course, you guys up here in the booth, can't wait to go back and watch it. I heard Jacob was getting pretty excited up here. So I love to hear that enthusiasm up here. And of course, my friends and family, my mom, dad, grandma, and my little cousin watching. Of course, my beautiful wife, too.
Yes, sir. It takes a village to put on a show like this, and you have not disappointed. Thank you for your time. Congratulations on the podium. We'll see you in the championship 4, sir.
See ya.
All right, Ken. Well, this is a little unorthodox, but who do you have speaking for our fourth driver tonight?
I am standing by with our fourth place finisher in the number 4 machine, no doubt, James Silvers. What a race you had tonight. You started out there, I believe in the third position, in second position, excuse me, and kind of bounced back and forth between second and third, battling McCarty. But there at the end, you and Threlkel got together, and I know that at the time you're probably a little upset with that contact, but you're able to hold on, get that 4th spot, and lock yourself into the Final Four. Talk about your race tonight.
Well, tonight's race, can you hear me? First
Yeah,
off? Okay, I thought my microphone was still muted. First off, though, the race was really nice tonight. I mean, everybody stayed really clean, and it was just great racing. I mean, being able to hold the bottom and hold them brakes. The car was a little bit loose, and it was tight. So getting on the gas, car got tight. But if you run really on the bottom, it really wanted to break loose. So, I mean, it was more like a happy medium. You had to really play with the throttle tonight and use a lot of brake. But, I mean, I think I was doing all right. I was doing good for myself. I mean, put myself in good position. I almost wrecked. I don't know if y'all seen that or not.
I think we got that, actually. I think we did
right after
capture
pit
that.
stops.
Yeah.
I locked the tires up for about 2,000 yards, and I was like, well, maybe my tires are shot after that. But I remembered I pit about 5 or 6 laps after McCarthy did, so it didn't really affect me that bad. I ran him back down and then got around him. He raced me really clean tonight. And then when that caution came out and I seen Gardner staying out, I was like, well, if I pit, maybe everybody else will pit behind me. And sure enough, almost everybody behind me pit. And I knew I was going to have the freshest tires right there on the restart, so I was just trying to put my car where nobody else was at because I knew my car would be able to stick. But I got up against the wall, and it's just in the bad spot at the wrong time. I mean, I understand that he took left sides, and I ain't holding nothing against him. He's a great driver. He's a good friend of mine, and I mean, stuff like that happens in racing, and got to be able to overcome it and be able to come back next week and do the same thing so we can come out here and maybe try to win this championship.
Well, that's exactly what you did. What you needed to do here tonight to get that fourth position, lock yourself in. And speaking of that, how do you feel about going into Miami? You got some speed at that joint.
Yeah, I've tend to gotten better at it over the years. I used to be pretty slow there, well, on long run speed, but short run speed, I've always had the short run speed there. But over the years, my buddy Radburn Shutters, he's not in this league or nothing, but he practices what he preaches basically. And we was trying to do this Homestead race about a year ago, and he literally sit me down and we trained for this for about like a month straight. And I really started to figure out how to be able to save tires on the long run. So I mean, hopefully I can just get some practice this weekend and try to be confident enough to go out there and try to take it next week.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be fast, and we're all going to be looking forward to watching you race that number 4 car out there next week at Miami Homestead. So good luck to you. We'll see you next week.
All right, boys. Thank you. You have a good weekend.
That was James Silver's 4th place in points and 4th place in the race.
All right, Ken. Well, all good things must come to an end. Next week, it's going to be the final race to decide a champion in the Premier Series at Homestead Miami Speedway. We've gone through 14 races in this season so far, and it's all going to come to a head on May 6th.
Absolutely, and I'm going to look forward to Miami. Everybody talks about it being a great track. Not my favorite. I actually like North Wilkesboro a little bit better than Miami, but Miami is certainly going to put on a show. We'll see 3 wide racing for sure out there with these top drivers out here in the Cruisin Classics Next Gen Series, that's for sure.
Yes, sir, and we are going to be hoping for a big crowd to give a good send-off to this season. And speaking of send-offs, for everyone here at V-Speed, I'm Jacob Lanke. Here in the booth with me is Ken Huber, Eddie Smith on production, Dougie Beard provided your cameras, and we will see you next week for the finale. Have a good week.